Thank you for being here. Thank you, Lord, for another day that I get to try to figure things out, to be a better person, to be the best version of myself. That I can do that is a blessing. That I can stop and think, that I'm able to reflect. Not a lot of people do that. But you can stop sometimes. Stop yourself from going down the rabbit hole that just leads to other things, because I'm used to going down a rabbit hole. That's my way. So the fact that you can stop yourself and think about that, I am grateful for, Lord, that I'm able to do so. A lot of people can't. And if they don't catch themselves or have an outlet like this, I'm thankful for this outlet here that I have. Good morning, Greg, Natalie, Holly. As we talk about this morning cup of coffee and start off with gratitude. And I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the issues that I got to think about. I'm thankful for that because it's what allows me to say, hey, you're lucky that you're able to think about it and at least try to be a better version of yourself simply by catching it before it turns out to be the worst thing, right? Start with one morning cup of coffee. So, not feeling it this week. A little bit of falling into this idea of why am I caught in this miserable state that I put myself into. So it's been said before, and I've tried to think about this, that a lot of us have coping mechanisms as we grow up. Mine is fire. Mine is anger. It is my comfort zone. It is what drives me to do things. It is the thing that I feel empowered by because it's something I'm very familiar with. I'm used to the heat. I want the heat. When there's no heat, I'm cold. I don't feel I'm alive. It's weird. Great, because that's what I grew up thinking should be my fuel. But when I look at things like that, I'm going to silence this right here. Let's boom. Okay. So when I look at things like this, I think about the different things that are bugging me and why they bug me, and I realize a lot of it is self-created because I'm used to the fire. It's like, man, I need the heat. Let me start fire on my own. There are issues that are going on. There are no issues going on. Sometimes they're self-created. You see, it's like that one friend that you have that's always constantly beside you and saying negative things about everything that they see. Oh, look at that. Look at it. Oh, that's terrible. They're always there. They're always there, no matter what you do. Oh, look at this beautiful tree. Oh, look at that tree. They're always there doing that. They're such a negative Nelly. And they're always there. You ever have a friend like that? They're exhausting. I've had friends like that. But worse is I have a friend like that that lives inside me. They're always there, picking fights. They're always there, pointing out everything negative all the time. Why and how did this person come about? Well, apparently, they're there to protect me. They're there to say, I'm going to point out the negative things because we from our past know that that is going to happen and we have to learn from that so they'll never happen again. It'll never happen again. So they're always telling me, oh, remember the negative thing, negative, get angry, protect yourself, do this. So it won't happen. It's a self-preservation thing. That is why we focus on, or we seem to be really getting lessons or really affected by something negative. I can latch onto something negative because I understand that. Positive and nice, this is great, but I'm not usually positive and nice all the time. So it's just going to go, that was nice, it's gone. But negative I hold on to. This I know. Isn't that interesting? And I talk to some people who actually are alike. I never thought of it that way. I remember a friend of mine who had a very, very bad relationship with someone. And they were always berated, destroyed, and everything else. But then when they were broken up, they go on to another one. Same thing, and to another, same thing. But finally, when there was someone so pure, so nice to them, they started out that, they healed them and everything else. And then they broke away. And it continued on with the same pattern. So I'm like, what is the pattern here? Do you like to be, to be battered? Do you like to be insulted? What is that? And they told me, I like it because it's not that I like it or don't like it. I'm used to it. I can handle being mistreated. I can handle the negativity that is my life. I cannot handle when things are good. It drives me crazy. It's like I'm waiting for that shoe to drop. I'm always anxious because it's too good to be true. Isn't that sad? And maybe that's the reason why a lot of people in bad relationships always go back and are in those bad relationships because of that. I found that very interesting and very sad. But at the same time, I could understand that. I like fire. Forge and fire, right? I like challenges. Why? Because I go back to that and I look back in my past and I realize the times when I was the most productive is when I was angry. The times when I was most able to get what I wanted and do what I wanted was fueled by that feeling, that conflict, always having conflict. Why? It provides an adrenaline rush. Working with veterans and talking to some of them that come back and have issues, injuries, I was able to understand that it was why do they keep having to go back? Now, they got out of the service, somebody's very close to me, went down, did some soldiering stuff, came back a changed person, not the same, bothered by things. And outside that job now, he has to keep going back to these danger zones as a civilian, as a contractor, doing what he did when he was in the military. And he keeps on doing it. And I asked him why. Part of the thing, he goes, Doug, that you understand is that when you're down there and you have that purpose and you've been exploding to that, to deal with that conflict's always there, that anxiety of always something dangerous that could be life-ending is always there. There is an adrenaline rush that you go through to stay alive. It's a drug. And when you're up there at the highest level of survival and you're using all these things to be able to survive, when that's gone, irregardless of how horrific it could have been or how troubling it could have been, that drug was introduced to you. He could never feel so much more alive and so much higher than when his life could have ended. And so coming back, that's gone. Coming back because I cannot stand the peace and quiet. I cannot stand how simple things are. I need conflict and I need to get that high again, which is the adrenaline of having to stay alive. And if you don't have that, they don't handle it well. They have to find different coping mechanisms. And that's why we have all these programs to try to find other coping mechanisms. So I could relate to that. I go, why am I still falling back into that? I need conflict to grow. I need to find that coping mechanism. I need to do that. What is my coping mechanism? Being creative. Finding ways to inspire, to do that, because I've got media, I can talk, I can do these things. How do I keep engaged in everything else? But every so often, while I'm doing this, it's too smooth. It's too fun. It's too simple. It's too quiet. My old friend will come out again and going, they're all using you. They only want this for themselves. That's not true. That's not true. That's just a side of me. Going again to saying, oh, it's too quiet. Let's create some conflict. Let's put some fake news into the head so that you can create conflict. And before you know it, this person is doing, they're doing this, they're doing that. No, that's all in my head. It's all there. It's not that way. You know how I found out? Stop, take a pause, take a knee. Remember, that side is one side of yourself. One side that you see. You haven't seen or asked their side. You've made and passed judgments based on your own issues, not what's real. And that's where I have to learn to stop, take a breath, use all these things that we talk about here, that we're trying to do. That we're always trying to overthink things. We turn things into issues and problems, because when there are issues and problems, I know this. I know this feeling. Let's go fight. Let's fight. Fight may not necessarily mean fight physically, but there's a fight in me going on. A fight in me. Now, here's this conflict. Then, of course, it spills out. Then you start accusing people of doing all these things when they're not. And they're like, what are you talking about? Why? Where's this coming from? And we're like, well, because of this and everything. Like, no, I only did this. And you start to say, oh my gosh, this is all misery created by my own friend right here. It's always telling me, back. A lot of times we have to realize that the fight we have is all within us, and that the reality of things aren't that way. But because we are so comfortable with fire, here's the thing. It worked for me in my younger years when I was solo. It worked for me when I was trying to prove things when I was solo. But the minute you start to engage with other people that you care about, that you have things to do with, that you're doing, that are part of your life, it doesn't work anymore. You know why? Maybe you're good at playing with fire, but when you have people around you, they don't deserve to get burned. You may be good with getting burned, others don't. And that's the bad part of it. That's why we have to change. That's why we have to catch ourselves and remind ourselves, maybe I like being burned, but other people around me don't like being burned. And sometimes when I play with fire, they're gonna get burned. But I have to be careful if I want to continue having these people around me. You have to catch yourself. And part of that is the process of knowing that you have within you that pyromaniac that keeps on starting these fires. But when you find others out there, you have to say, stop. They don't want to play the same game. They don't deserve to get fired. They don't deserve this. You got to stop and say, hey, by the way, I got this issue that I'm thinking all this. Tell me the truth, please. Am I thinking wrong? And it's helped so much when I catch myself and I go, hey, this is bothering me. I need to know from your point of view, because something in my point of view is giving me all the wrong impressions. I'm projecting what's going on in the turmoil inside me. Is it real, or is it just Memorex? Ha! It's an old commercial from before. Is it real or is it Memorex? Kumusta, Jay? Yes, marunong pa ako mag-Tagalog. There's a question asked about somebody here about if I can still speak the lingo. But what do you think, guys? How much of the misery that's in our head, how much of the things that we look at life is created by the way we feel inside? How is that? And have you realized that a lot of it is self-created, can also be changed? So how do you change it? Me? I'm learning to stop and realize I'm creating this. What's happening right now is me. I'm creating this. So I gotta stop myself from letting it take over and make it my reality. It's something that's going on in there, but it's not my reality. How do I find that out? Is when I talk to the people. And that's why it goes, oh, thank God we had that talk, because my gosh, if you only knew what you've been accused of, what you've been judged on in my head, that I felt these were your intentions. Imagine that. When you think of things like that, then you later realize, like, wow, I apologize, because that was not your intention, obviously. It was all in mine. So, let me know in your comments over here, how do you continue on? How we continue on to inspire each other, because I know I'm not alone in this. This is something that happens to all of us, that we create our own misery because we like to be miserable. We create our own fires because we like playing with fires. But then, it's all good if we're the only ones who are affected by it. But the reality is, those we love around us don't deserve that, because that's not the inner turmoil that they need. That's the inner turmoil that you are experiencing, and you're projecting it out there. A lot of times I realize what's truly bothering me. I'm angry at that. I scream at that, but that's not what's bothering me. Something in here is. That's just me projecting it out there. And I have to catch myself. And when I do, I thank the Lord. And sometimes I'm like, in the end, it's my faith. I go, wow, none of this matters. This fire that I got in me doesn't matter. It's self-created. Take it away. Quench it. How? That's how. It's your faith. A simple prayer. Simple like that. Seems to heal all. When you're able to make it realize. It ain't about you. You don't matter in that sense. Stop creating your own misery and passing it on to others. Doug Marcaida here, Morning Cup of Joe. Thank you very much for enjoying this little cup. And let me know, because I know I'm not the only one out there. So how do we deal with this? I'm giving you some of my ideas of how we do that. Have a great day, folks.